and welcome back to 26 Ways to Draw a Letter, brought to you by Secura. And as you might know by now, I am Lise, and today we're going to do the letter K. Now, the first thing that popped into my mind when I thought about letter K is like a tree, and there's a scarf wrapped around the tree and it's blowing in the wind, so it'll make a K. Or I can make a K out of a pair of scissors, perhaps, because you know this. Oh, or I can draw a letter that is actually burning. Not that it has anything to do with the letter K, but duh, a letter that's burning. Isn't that cool? No? Okay. Let's see what we can do with the letter K. Grab a couple of fine liners and a blank piece of paper, or the practice sheet that you know by now you can download for free via the link in the description, and draw along with me. Letter K, let's go. Here we go. Using size 10 and size 8 today for the letter K, which basically we got 3 straight lines, 1 vertical and 2 diagonal, pretty much, right? It's a icky and sticky letter, if you ask me. So let's soften it up a little bit. I'm thinking rather thick letter, starting off with what looks very much like a J, which is like the spine of the K. And oh, this is tricky. You can see how I'm hesitant. Okay. And there goes the other one. See how the 2 diagonal lines almost form like half a circle, or like some kind of claw, right? Like a claw of a crab or something like that. Yeah. Anyways, so, and I can also see now that for my fellow Swedes in here, this looks exactly, or not exactly, but it looks very much like a part of a logo for a coffee brand. Didn't mean for that to happen, but I enjoy coffee. Coffee, which is also spelled with a K in Swedish. We call it kaffe. Not so far from your English coffee. Anyways, that's not why you're here, right? Next up, let's do a firm, like the working 9 to 5 in the bank kind of letter. Right. And the serifs. Obviously, we need the serifs. You have seen me do letters in this style before, and this is one of the styles that I like to come back to show you what they can look like in different letter forms. No, not letter forms, but different letters, like what these clothes look on a K, for instance. And because old habits die hard, I'm also filling it up with lines, and I'm using the size 8 for this. Now, I don't know if you've noticed so far, but I tend to do, when I do a letter that is very straight and serious, like this one is, I get a constant urge to like do the opposite, right? So what is the opposite of this K? Well, maybe it's this one. Look. And now I'm gonna have to pause to think again which direction I'm supposed to do this curls in, right? And back in a big loop and making it smaller. There. Some sort of dynamics between the two, right?
here is a looser K, not as looser, but in loose, you know, AK, not tight. And now I'm thinking to really just go with 3 straight lines, which here are represented by some planks, maybe? Yeah. And thus we're holding it all together with one nail there. Okay, so I am drawing like the skeleton. Oh, thank you. Sorry about the weird sunshine here. You have to like bear with me for just a minute. It will get better. So there is this sort of skeleton, and I am building the letter around it, trying to also add a little bit of shade to make it look like it's got 3 dimensions there. Whenever you want to draw block letters, for instance, starting with like a skeleton of a very simple one thin line letter is a really good idea. Just a tip. Okay, remember that I talked about this weird sort of idea I had about scissors? So I'm drawing very, very simple scissors. Here, 1 pair. And we need another one that's gonna go like here. Handles there. That one. And the other one has to go more up. In the same angle as the handle. There. So I present to you a scissor K. Okay. What if every line that I draw on this K are almost like a triangle, but with very soft corners? If so, that is how this K would look. And some wobbly lines. If you want to go and color the letters, you could color them in like ice cream colors, you know, fresh pastels or something. But I don't do that here, so you're gonna have to do with black and white. Okay, so I'm thinking this is one of the diagonal lines of a K, and I am filling it in. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but let's roll with it. Okay, so this is one of the diagonals, and after that I also need the spine of the K, which I'm drawing here, and another diagonal leg goes out from here. Okay, so now we have a weird looking K with 1 dark and 2 white elements. Yeah. Moving on to something equally weird when you think about it. It's like teardrops or just drops. Anyway, don't have to be a drama queen here. Drops or flower petals, or perhaps even some sort of link. I don't know. But I am shaping them into the letter K. It's almost like the spine is straight and the 2 diagonal lines are almost like one. slightly bent line that just touches the spine somewhere in the middle. And I am also making the outlines around these drops, petals, whatever, a little bit thicker, using the size 10 for this. The drops I drew with size 8. And thinking about the next letter, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking that I should go with a rather like sturdy, hefty kind of letter. Let's see. Okay. The silhouette would look something like this. Slightly bent lines all over. Bent and bent. There. Looking dangerously close to an H. So I'll have to broaden the diagonal lines a little bit. You can see that, right? There. To really make them more diagonal than vertical, because otherwise everyone would see this as an H. There. And filling this one in too. Yeah. There. Yeah, let's make this letter move a little bit. Okay. This one will not have the straight spine, but a curved one. Like that. That is the back of this K, and the arms, if we're going anatomy here, will have to work with that style as well. Yeah. And let's just draw a line in the middle of each section here. There and there. And use the size 8 to, I don't know, just make some lines here. There and there. Okay. Next K will be with very clumsy feet and hands. Look, like these 2, 3, and 4 big, like almost balls. There. And here's a K that is perhaps very loosely put together. No nail are holding these 3 arms together. Perhaps you can imagine it like this letter is like lying on the floor. There. And we could also make them differ a little bit. So okay, we could make one could be filled in with black. This one. And one could be filled in with lines. See how the character of this letter completely shifted when I filled two of them in with pattern and color. It's pretty interesting. Okay, another K coming up here is a straight one that is sort of bent forward a little bit, like this, and down there. So it, perhaps you can't see it that well from this angle, but it's like bent slightly forward, like it's really eager to go somewhere or do something. I don't know what. Okay, skinny K with long arms and long legs coming up. Almost like Q-tips. There, and that end too, right? Now this is going to be a K with a very, very, very low waist. So the upper body is huge and the waist is all the way down here. And that leg is going straight like that. Now perhaps I could make a K out of 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves with this flower in its center. So 1 leaf, 2, 3, you see what I'm doing now, and 4. Yeah. So for everybody except you and me, this is just like a flower with some leaves, but we can see that it's actually a K. Speaking of there's a K. Speaking of weird looking letters that aren't letters, there's another one for you. It's like a square chicken. I don't know. Okay, well, okay, moving on to lines that are not attached to one another, but that will form in some way, I hope, the letter K. Let's see where this is going. There, and not touching. I'm still trying to find where to go with this one. There. Here's another one with, remember the very first K I did up in the left corner? Almost looks like, I said that it almost looked like claws. I am thinking that it can also be like a mouth of a monster. See, eye here and teeth going here. I know it's silly, but actually it helps me a lot if I can make real images out of the lines that I'm drawing. It helps me to come up with new shapes. So that's why I'm transferring this way of looking at letters to you too. So this is a K made out of rounded lines with no sharp corners at all, adding a little bit of shade here. And yeah, so remember that scarf tied around a tree that I mentioned in the intro? Well, here it is. Tree here. Scarf there, tree here. Like that. And size 8 to do once more. It's the birch tree. That is the closest to my heart because I live in Sweden and we get a lot of those. And the scarf there, flapping in the wind, which is obviously blowing very hard, as you can see. Tiny knots and fringes to go with that one as well. There. Okay, I'm sort of running out of space now. I think I have 1, 2, 3 letters to go. Okay, here I have some space. Okay, coming up, a simple, kind of thin K with a twist. Look. Whoop. There's the twist. Soft loop emerging from a rather straight and anonymous K, adding a little bit more character there. Okay, and I think I have 2 left. So I told you that I had this idea about drawing a letter that is on fire, and I will, starting off with a simple block letter K, and I'm grabbing the size 8 to just draw a very easy and simple frame of fire around it, like flames all the way around it, down there a little bit and up again. And this K is obviously standing on something, like it is not burning from under, it's just burning there and around there. Burning K. Okay, last one. I know. We're gonna make a K that's almost like a square. Almost like a square, just a tiny little, up. There is a K looking like a square. And I'm making an outline, trying to keep a steady hand here. It's a little tiny, chubby, square K. It's kind of cute. There, and sort of failed there. There. Oh, come on, Lise. I'm filling it in there too. All these touch-ups just because I drew one section that wasn't straight. Now I have to go touch-ups on all the others as well. And it still doesn't look good. Anyways. This is the last layer, I promise you. And after this, we are done. We have now drawn 26 different versions of the letter K. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week.